Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Horror on TV. TJ and I are going to shortly be talking about these last few episodes of season 2 of Creepshow. A lot of animated stuff in this section. So I think it's a little bit uneven. I'll say that right off, but we're going to talk about all that here shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and add TJ, aka Mr. Barlow, here real quickly. Hey, TJ.
Dana, how's it going?
Good. You ready to talk about these episodes?
Yep. Did you hear about Salem's Lot?
No, what's the news?
It's going to be coming to Max sometime this year, so it's not going to be in theaters. So
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Actually, I guess we'll see.
If you don't want it, I think the other choice would have been shelved. So
so if you want to see a Salem's Lot, then
yeah,
that's how you're gonna have to see it. So I guess we'll go ahead and dig into these segments here, which I am right. We went on and covered the sibling rivalry episode last time, right?
yes.
Okay. Thought we did. So the next one is Pipe Screams, directed by Joe Lynch, and has Barbara Crampton in this as the bitchy landlady.
She's Adrienne Barbeau in The Crate is basically what she's doing.
Yeah.
With some kind of weird older lady voice, I guess.
Yeah, I know it did. It was kind of weird.
I guess that was a choice.
Evidently.
I guess someone said, "Now you're the sexy Barbara Crampton. You got to do a weird voice, or people won't
believe
accept you
it.
as this character." Yeah, sure. Somebody decided that was a good idea. Whatever.
It was just kind of weird hearing that voice come out of Barbara Crampton because, like, even though they kind of tried to make her, I mean, she is older, obviously, but Barbara Crampton still looks good, though. But I think they kind of tried to make her a little less attractive, I guess would be.
Well, she's a racist, and she could care less about children dying of lead poisoning. So yeah, I mean, make her as ugly sounding as she is as a character, I guess. So
yeah. So I'll go ahead and I will let TJ start talking about this. This is an unusual, well, I guess not an unusual episode, but it has an unusual creature in it. So go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, unusual as in, yeah, I've seen it before. I mean,
kind of, but kind of not.
It's like a mixture of a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so Barbara Crampton owns this apartment building. It's lead pipes. There was a leak in one of the tenants' apartments, which leaked down into the basement. But then, like, she brings in this plumber. He's like, "Yeah, that's lead pipes. We gotta take these out." And she's like, "Well, I didn't. You're the bottom of the barrel, basically. Is what you're the bottom of the barrel type of the guy. I hired you so you wouldn't say anything."
Yeah, because they were like one bad review away from not having a business anymore.
Yeah, he's so his backstory is he's taken over the plumbing company from his brother, who basically was a shitty plumber, didn't do it. Ironic. A lousy plumber, and he has a bad reputation. So he's basically took on the name, and he's trying to better the place. Obviously, this isn't the right job to do that on. So he's basically, okay, fine. I guess there's nothing I can do about this because she's got him over a barrel or over a toilet. Yeah, he starts investigating. There's some kind of creature in the pipe. He goes up to the apartment where he thinks the problem has originated. He meets this woman who has a kid, so he's like, "Oh, damn! Now I can't," because he has a conscience. He can't go through it. Just leaving the lead pipes there because his kid's there, and she's like, "I don't." The landlady's like, "I don't care about the kids." Blah blah blah. Like I said, she's really racist. She's like, she pulls one of those people things. We're like, okay, we're good. You don't want to see the
better than everybody else in this whole apartment complex.
These people is when you see. I'm not a bad person. I don't say the bad words. Yeah, you're still a piece of crap. Anyway, the woman in the apartment, she's got to go. I guess she trusts him enough to leave him there. He discovers this slimy. It's like the gunk you find in like if you have a snake the toilet or a sink, that's the hair and clumps of. It looks like clumps of like fat and hair, and it's like, but it's all alive too.
Right. And it looks like one of those massive hair clogs you get out of your drain.
Yeah. There's a point where it's got this little mouth. It's really gross looking. I think they did really well with the effects, which is another thing. They got rid of the creep puppet. Now it's animated. So I guess they were trying to, because it's this, the animation is kind of, it's interesting, but it's a cheap way of not filming a set with a puppet where you have to hire, a bunch of people to make the puppet.
But the puppet's going to come back for the last segment, I think.
Yeah, but by this point, after this season, they get rid of the puppet completely.
Oh, they get rid of it completely.
Yeah. I think I can't remember if the holiday special had the puppet in it or it had cartoons or both. I think it might have both. I can't remember. I haven't watched that for like 3 weeks. So anyway, it's basically he's fighting this slimy creature. Early on, it ate. So he finds this cat wandering around the basement. It had basically caught a rat, so there's this dead rat there. And if you notice the tag, it says Fluffy, which I guess is a reference to the crate, because this is basically the crate, but with a different, creature, different setup.
Right.
When he goes up to the apartment, the ashtray, the Creepshow ashtray is on the woman's table.
I missed the ashtray.
Yeah, it's on the table.
And doesn't the cat turn out to be the little girl's cat that he goes in the apartment? Because doesn't he see a picture and he sees the mother and the little girl and the cat? And he's like,
you saw more than I did. I saw the
I thought there was a photo of the cat with the little bell on its collar or whatever it was.
Well, there's a point where he looks at a calendar. There was stuff written on the calendar. I was like, are these references to anything? And no, it was just like,
it was just regular.
Kid to school, that kind of crap. So anyway, there's another reference which I'll mention in a couple of seconds. So he fights off the creature. There's one point with the creature. It's like it's very the hand in Creepshow in Evil Dead 2 type of situation.
I thought that too.
It reminded me a little bit about that. There's
they actually cover it with a bucket or something.
Yeah, that's when the mother comes home. But there's a point where where it's sort of like, I guess it's it eats flesh. Mm-hmm. So it grabs onto his hand and he's trying to pull it off. And there's, like I said, it's very Evil Dead 2 comedy going on within this. So he's trying to pull this thing off his hand. He finally pulls it off and all his hand is like eaten away and it's just like muscle. And
he's actually got plates and he's banging the plates against it.
Yeah, it's very the hand in Evil Dead 2. It's really kicking his ass, this creature, and it's about to kill him basically. My mother had finally come home and used his tool. He has like a tool bucket, If anybody knows what a tool bucket is, it's a bucket where you put your tools in. It's got little pockets on the side, but it's got the big opening. Like it's basically a bucket with pockets on the side. Anyway, she uses it to grab to get the creature, and she's like, "Well, great. Now what are we going to do about it?" So they look at each other knowingly. We know what we're going to do with this. So he calls the landlady. He's like, "You're going to come down here and see something." And she's like, "Well, I don't want to go down there, blah, blah, blah." So she ends up coming down to the apartment building. She comes with a glass of wine. And earlier on, she says, like, "I just want to go home and drink my wine." So later on, she comes with a glass of wine, which is the crate where Billy comes in with her vodka and milk or whatever was she made. I don't know, rum and milk. We don't. That's what I should have asked the time I met Adrian Barbeau. I should have said,
Yeah, what was
that drinking?
Yeah, it was gross, whatever it was.
But when you're drunk, you just whatever's handy, you just kind of. Because even not to mention the movie, but in Creepshow, she's just sort of reaching over. She just grabs something and pours it in, so she didn't even know what she was doing. Anyway, so whatever Mrs. What was her name? I can't remember.
Oh, Barbara Crampton's character? Because she was called Victoria.
Okay. But did her last name mean anything? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Victoria Smoot. I don't know if that meant anything. Smoot. That's a weird one. She's Smooty. I don't know. That's kind of maybe it means something. Anyway, yeah. So she comes back and he's like, "Did you take care of the problem?" And he's basically like, "The problem's not the." He doesn't say this, but basically, it's the problem's not what's wrong with the apartment building. She's the problem. So we see all the town people in the apartment building they all have his tools, and they're all doing the. Yep, we're gonna kill the bitch.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a lynch mob or something almost.
I think the mother said something like, "Yeah, we have kids, and you didn't care," and she starts begging, "No, I'm sorry, I didn't." Blah 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 blah. Well, they're not gonna kill her themselves.
Nope.
They let the creature out, and the creature attacks her, and it pulls her down into like this sewer drain, and it's very reminiscent of the scene from Creepshow 2, the raft.
The raft, yeah.
Where Deke gets sucked down into the thing, and his leg's sticking out, so her leg is sticking out. It's basically a reference to the movie. And yeah, she gets sucked down into it. And then it sort of ends. All the people start putting the tools back into the tool chest, and they all walk out. Then it's the next day, and the little girl's running downstairs, and she's like, the mother's like, whatever the little girl's name is. I think it's Lila. Lila, come here or whatever, because the little girl isn't getting a line, so she doesn't get really a character really that much. She's like, Lila, come on, we gotta go to school or whatever. And you see her put down a little bowl of cat food, and she waves to the monster, and you hear the monster in there. And the monster makes a lot of like gross sloshing, fart type sounds and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty gooey, gross monster, which I like. So yeah, that's the episode.
This was a fun monster segment, I think, and even though it was kind of weird seeing Barbara Crampton do this character, it was still fun. Everything was fun in it, and it had a creature, and that was a pretty cool creature, and disgusting too, but cool. It still was kind of funny. I thought this was kind of
oh yeah, like I said, it had the slapstick comedy with the fighting the creature, and like I said, they were taken from Evil Dead too.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Yeah. So yeah, I like this one.
And Joe Lynch is he directs weird shit. So I mean,
he does. Yeah, exactly. Which I'm going to say hi to some people in the chat.
Sure.
Batman's in here. Kathy's in here. And Batman wants to know, he says, "Are you talking about a dirty Russian, TJ?" I guess he was talking about the drink. We're talking about the milk and the...
I know a white Russian is like Kahlua and or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but it's like milk and something. I don't know. I don't know what a dirty Russian is.
I don't know. I'd
Whoever,
have to
whoever,
look
whoever
that up.
Donald Trump is talking to is a dirty Russian. I think.
Gosh. Chris is in here, and Kathy says she likes Old Chief Woodenhead. Yeah, Old Chief
And
Woodenhead
Creepshow too, yeah.
from Creepshow too. I think probably uh, the Raft is probably my favorite story in that one, even though I like the Hitchhiker as well. I mean, I like all three of them, but the Raft just seemed like it was more fun, I guess, maybe was the thing. It wasn't quite as dark as the other two that bookended it, but
Actually, in this series, because originally Creepshow 2 was going to have 4 stories, and they didn't film one. I'm surprised they didn't incorporate it into the series.
yeah.
Because it was never made into. It was a bowling alley, and it was never made
Yeah, what
into
was it called? Pinballs or
some of that. Yeah.
something like that.
But
Uh,
why wouldn't they? You think they already had that story, and no one's ever done it? I don't know if Stephen King wrote that one or not, but I know somebody had done like a maybe not a full comic book, but a partial comic book. I don't know.
so Batman says a white Russian is vodka, coffee, liqueur, and cream. So I've
Yeah,
never had a white Russian. I've never had a dirty Russian.
the
So
Dirty Russians. Uh, what is it? Cold brew coffee, vodka, Kahlua, and heavy cream. Okay.
yeah, I would want to leave that cold brew coffee.
I I don't like it. Have you ever tried cold brew coffee?
Yeah, I did because we accidentally got somebody's order, like their Instacart order, and it was a whole bunch of stuff from Costco. So there was a lot of Kirkland brand stuff. Anybody that's went to Costco knows that they've got this Kirkland brand. But anyway, so we got a whole box of
Ah,
stuff that was not ours, and I contacted Instacart, and they said, "Well, you can keep it or donate it." So I was like, "Well, there's some cold brew coffee in here," and I took a drink of it. I was like, no, I don't like that. Frappuccinos and stuff like that, I like, but not this cold
I
brew.
like iced coffee, but cold brew is a totally different thing. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah. I guess in my brain, I was thinking it was going to be like an iced coffee drink. And no.
by the way, here's my steel book of Creepshow.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. I like it.
There were
We
two
were
at
lucky
Walmart,
enough to
but
get one.
I was gonna get the Walmart had 2 of them, and I was like, should I buy them both? And I was like, I'm not gonna like, I'm too lazy to try to sell one on eBay or whatever. Because I saw people were selling them for
Oh, probably ungodly.
10 to $100 more than what it costs to buy it
I'm
in the
sure.
store.
I'm sure people are going to try to make some money on this deal.
Yeah.
Batman says he only knows that because of the Big Lebowski.
Well,
And Blissful's in here. Hey, Blissful. So
hi.
we're going to move on to Within the Walls of Madness. Now, I'll be totally honest here. Greg Nicotero did one half of the story. Him and John Esposito worked on it, and John Harrison directed it. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but this seemed like one of the weaker episodes. Within the Walls of Madness, it has Denise Crosby in it.
Hmm.
I can't say it like the Dead Pit Boys say Denise Crosby, but
How do they say it?
they say kind of the some. They're trying to talk like Judd, I guess, in Pet Cemetery, and they're like, Denise Crosby. I can't do it. You'd have to have Wes on here to be able to do the Denise Crosby bit. I can't.
Sometimes Denise Crosby is better. I don't know. How would you do that voice other than that? That's basically the main accent.
Oh, you just need Wes on here. If we can get him on here sometime, I'll have him do the Denise Crosby.
Okay.
But anyway, um, I didn't hate this one. I just there was something that it was lacking, and I just can't put my finger on it. But I'm gonna go ahead and let TJ start talking about this one.
Well, it's a jumble of different things. It's Lovecraftian, I would say, with the
Yeah,
multiple dimensions and
that's
the
probably what I
weird
like.
creature and the tentacle creature. There's a tentacle creature, which is all the Lovecraft stuff is tentacles and stuff. It's also there's a little bit of The Thing in there. John Carpenter's The Thing, or even the original The Thing. There's the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, the '50s movie, The Crawling Eye.
I know of it, but I don't think I've watched it.
In fact, Denise Crosby, her character is named Dr. Trollenberg, and The Crawling Eye was a remake of a British TV serial called The Trollenberg Terror. So this is a direct reference to The Crawling Eye and that show by her name being in it. And I also noticed during the comic book stuff, like they basically repeat the same comic book stuff. Like there's like a synopsis of all the stories that are in the issue, stories in the issue. And they did that like throughout the whole season. And I'm like, couldn't they have written a different one they also wrote synopsis of the stories, but they wrote totally different synopsis of, they aren't the story synopsis. They're like some other weird, and I'm like, I guess you're trying to be creative, but like, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, it's about these three people are like, they're in this Arctic expedition looking for, I can't remember what the hell they're searching for. I don't remember. Do you remember what they were looking for?
No, I can't.
Okay.
See, this obviously was not a standout episode for me.
Oh yeah, the creep does shadow puppets. He's animated and does shadow puppets, and he's just doing this, but it's like the tentacle monster, and I'm like, okay, it's animated, so I'm gonna give it a break. So it actually starts out with the main character, I forget his name. He's telling the story to this, so he's in like the Hannibal Lecter kind of like, or like if you watch the X-Men movies where Magneto's in this like little room, to keep him, away from, out of, away from hurting some, because so this character is supposed to be a dangerous character. They think he killed a bunch of people.
He either is Zeller or Carson.
Okay. So this he's being, I guess, so this lawyer was appointed to him, and she's a lawyer who she's sort of like Gil Weathers, where she writes books about
exactly.
and she's just trying to get famous and popular and whatever. But basically, she's the only one that he has for a lawyer. So he starts telling her the story. So there's this some kind of Arctic expedition. It would have been funny if one of the characters was Julia Carpenter, because that was the name of the crate, the person who was. It's funny. There's things I can't remember, but I remember that for some damn reason. I'll be sitting here for 10 minutes. Who is this actress? What's her name? And I'm like, I remember Julia Carpenter. Anyway.
Well, that's a standout thing from Creepshow, though.
Yeah, but my brain is what I'm talking about. I don't know. Anyway, so it starts off with him, this woman, and this other dude. This dude is sort of like, the other dude is like, sort of like a military guy, and he's protecting the other two people. He's also in a relationship with the woman, but then we find out that the main character is actually having an affair with that woman.
Yeah.
So there's already animosity with the guy who's supposed to be protecting this other guy, hates him.
Yeah.
And then we find out that at first he's only speculating that they're having an affair, but then we find out later that they're actually having an affair. So okay. Something happens. The guy has to leave them alone. They end up getting stuck in this room, and they get attacked by this creature. The guy comes back. The main guy's holding an axe. There's blood all over him. There's blood all over the wall. This woman's in a bunch of pieces. Her severed head is there. And it's like, you can tell that she was ripped apart. She wasn't chopped with an axe. But anyway, this guy is already upset with him, doesn't like him to begin with, and now has a reason to really want to kill him. And the guy's trying to be reasonable. He's like, "This is look, I did this. Look, this is look, an axe did all this." Like, anyway, he ends up getting killed by the monster too. But before that, Denise Crosby is the doctor. She comes and like, what's going on? And he's like, I didn't do any of this. And he's like, go look at this was all recorded. Go look at the recordings. Go look at the tapes. And she's like, okay, you guys stay here and I'll go look. So she's going to look. Meanwhile, I guess he's tied up, his hands behind the chair, and the guy's like smacking him with the gun, and like he's like beating the shit out of him. Basically, he doesn't believe anything. He just wanted an excuse to go into this guy. So anyway, Denise Crosby, she goes back to her office to look at the tapes, and on her desk is the ashtray. You can see there's like it's like all like I think it's all green or whatever, but you can see the outline of the ashtray, like the shadow on the wall. So it's very like if you're looking, you can see it. Anyway, so she looks through the recording. He's right. It definitely was a creature, but she deletes all the footage.
Yeah.
And she goes back and she goes, there was no monster. She's obviously lying for some reason. And if you've seen Alien, she's not Ash, but she's basically Ash. She's not a robot, but yeah, the other dude gets murdered, gets killed by the does he get killed by the creature? Wait, let me see.
No, I thought the other guy got loose, and the other guy gets loose, and he puts an axe through his head.
That's what happens. Mm-hmm. He gets his arms out of the handcuffs, and he axes the dude in the head, and he goes, "It was self-defense," and she's like, "Who's going to prove it? I saw you murder him." Yeah. So she's basically covering this up. He's like, "All right, I'm going to kill you unless you tell me what's going on." They go to this. They go on this little expedition. They find where she found this. She knows about the creature, so she tells the story about what happened, and it's like kind of a version of what happens in The Thing, where the people go look for the creature and they find whatever. I think it's probably more like the original The Thing than the.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so she finds this sort of like fossil-looking thing. It looks like I don't know, one of those old fossils you'll see about ancient ocean life type of things. It looks like a little like clam, but with like tendrils kind of thing. But it's all it's like a little skeleton or fossil of it. We find out that it's a gateway. It's sort of like a key that's a gateway. She sort of blows on it, and then it sort of like comes to life, and like it lights up, and little tendrils, little like tendrils come out of the sides or whatever. And she says it's they're like gods. They were here before man was, and they were here before everybody was, and they're sick of what humans have done to the planet and whatever. So the creatures are going to come back, wipe out mankind, and then build all over again. Well, the dude doesn't want that to happen. Let's see. What happens to Denise Crosby? I forget. Let me see.
I thought that guy caused her to get killed, but I'm trying to.
I'm literally like watching it right now to see what happens to her. Yeah, he chops her. He basically cuts her. He wants to stop the creatures from coming through basically the key is opening a passageway, and he swings the axe and slices her throat. Obviously. Oh, and I forgot. As they're having this little standoff, you hear people are approaching.
Yeah.
And the last thing they see is her dead body, and him with the axe and bloody, and the corpses of the other two people. So obviously they think he's murdered.
Yeah, they're blaming him for all the deaths.
So we go back to we sort of end going back to him and the woman, and she's like, I guess we're going to plead insanity. Well, it's the day of his execution. We find out that she didn't plead insanity. Supposedly he wanted to prove what he was saying was true, but we all kind of know that she probably just pleaded not guilty because she knew it would be more sensational for him to show he's crazy than to just make a plea. We get the warden. He says to her, "Yeah, we know what really happened. You just wanted to sell books. You didn't really care about this guy."
Right.
So they're watching the execution. We find out that he wants to. He asked the governor if he could make some kind of like speech. So he starts making a speech, and he talks about the creatures and how they're going to destroy the world or whatever. And before that they hold the little fossil thing up to his face, and he blows into it, and he basically starts the end of the world. Is basically what he does. Yeah. He figures since he's dead, the girl he was in love with is dead. He's just going to kill everybody in the world. So it's very a cabin in the woods kind of ending. Like a wormhole opens up or whatever, and a dimensional hole opens up, and everybody gets sucked into it by the giant tentacle creature that we see. And
the creature was really cool.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
It's definitely digital, but it's very. It looks cool, and the design is interesting. And the way it's just pulling people and sucking them out, and right. They all go into oblivion, and like, you know, the woman's there holding her book that she just published, and it's kind of funny. Like, would you go to an execution? It's like, are you signing autographs?
She probably would. This woman was not really a good person, I don't think.
Anyway, and then he's watching them all sort of get attacked outside of the room he's in, and there's a point where the tentacle creature has grabbed the lawyer who wrote the book, and like she like, you know, through the glass window and into the room, and they're like this on, yeah, you know, right. And they're like face to face, and she's just like, ooh, and he's all like, ha ha,
told you so, didn't I?
Yeah, and it basically ends with the end of the world. And he's like, I warned you, you know. Yeah. And the thing's attacking all the people and whatever. And yeah.
Well, like I said, it wasn't an awful episode, and the monster was really cool, and the stuff at the end was cool, but it was the middle part that bothered me. All the interaction between the principal players, I guess, just didn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
The main guy was okay, but even Denise Crosby wasn't very good in this. And didn't you think she was freaking creepy? You know, when she went away and she looked at that footage, and she had that her mouth just started twitching a little bit, and she was like, I want to smile, but I don't want to smile, you know, and it was just weird.
Yeah, I mean, that part, like that part of the acting was good, like her you know, her expressions and stuff like that. Like her characterization was good. I don't know if maybe it was the script and they were trying to do something within a small time period, and you know, when you have one of those explanation scenes, it's hard to make it that interesting because it's mostly dialogue, and even the intercutting stuff wasn't as exciting as it could have been. So yeah, that I think that's kind of where
I think you hit the nail on the head, TJ. I think with these type of short form stories, they don't need to have that much dialogue in it. I think there literally was too much exposition, I guess, too much dialogue, and they should have just gotten to the action quicker.
I liked in the end comic book part where you'll see it's like they're selling the giant eye creature, 7 feet tall,
yeah,
$2, and that's another reference of the eye creature from the Crawling Eye too, which I think is a cool. See, that stuff's cool, but yeah, I just wish they didn't stop doing the creep. I mean, it was cool. I mean, I guess they're like, oh, everybody already saw Tales from the Crypt, but you know, I don't know, whatever. my personal preference. I would rather in the end, like I said, the animation that they have is like it's interesting, but it's just like
Yeah, it's not nearly as good as the puppet creep.
yeah.
Blissful says now she has REM in her noggin because you were saying the end of the world.
But I feel fine.
And you will feel fine even during the dialogue laden parts of this episode. You will survive. So if we move on to the next one, which is Night of the Living Late
Had
Show.
your favorite actor in it.
Okay, I like the episode, but I can't
Justin
stand
Long.
Justin Long. I have to say, like, okay, TJ, I gotta ask you, that man can't act, can he? He couldn't act his way out of a
He
paper
has a
bag.
very specific thing he does. That sort of goofy,
He's
innocent.
annoying.
He's got that goofy, innocent, boyish thing, but like, there's only so long you can do that kind of character type of before you're too old to be doing that character. I
Yeah,
mean,
but he's underlying on all of that stuff. It's like I'm an asshole. I'm trying to hide it, but I'm an asshole, really.
I liked him in Tusk. We hate the character, but that's what you're supposed to do in that episode in
Well,
that
I
movie.
hated that whole movie. That was the most awful, one of the most awful movies I've ever seen.
But his performance for what his character was, he played a great asshole. I thought in that. He's supposed to be likable in this too, but then he does a bunch of shit, and it's like he's not
I
likable.
didn't like him though, because for one thing, the way he treats his wife in it, like he thinks he's pulled the wool over her eyes all the time, and he doesn't want to do anything with her, don't want to spend any time with her. It's like, dude, why'd you marry her? I guess it's what her father said. He just wanted her money.
And that poor woman, like, she got a shitty husband, a terrible dad, and her thing is she's rich, and it's not like she's like her dad gives her. No, she's rich on her own, but she still cares about her dad. I'm like, okay, and I can't forget her last name. She's from that sitcom, The Good Place.
Is it
The Good Place?
I'm cheating. Darcy Carden?
Yeah. She was I want to get she played Janet in The Good Place. She was like the robot Siri type of character in that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And she was in that. They had done a League of Their Own. They tried to make a TV show out of it. I didn't watch it, but I know she was in that. But like, I like her. She's a good actress and stuff.
Yeah.
She's very good in this. Like you're on her side the whole movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because, well, what do you got? You got her, and you got
Justin Long.
Yeah. So
there's nobody else. You hear the dad's voice, but there's no other characters. Oh, there are, but they're not really characters.
Right, exactly. But I did like the premise. This one was actually directed by Greg Nicotero.
Yeah, this was a good one.
And I love the premise of a VR thing, or it looks like a tanning bed. Basically, you get in this thing and you put on the headset and you have the VR over your eyes, and you're able to go into movies. And in this case, he goes into Horror Express, which is an old movie with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
And they show a lot of it. I'm surprised. I think it's public domain, so maybe that's how they got. I think it's a public domain film, so I think that's how they got the rights to use it.
That would have to be, because I don't see how they could have showed that much of it.
And they have surprise. They have Night of the Living Dead in it also.
Yeah, it's Night of the Living Dead, which is also public domain. And I guess Night of the Living Dead is still public domain, right? TJ, nothing.
Oh yeah, it's never going to not be public domain. It's
just poor George Romero. That's all I can say.
It's what copy you own, though. Like if you try to show a copyrighted DVD, you can't show that, but you can show a clip. You can show. It's weird. The copyright thing is weird, especially with this movie. It's like Night of the Living Dead has its own special copyright. Like
yeah,
like I don't know.
But I'm gonna go grab some more caffeine because I've been having to have caffeine all day. But I'm gonna let TJ start talking about this episode.
Okay. So we have Simon Sherman. He's an inventor. So he's been putting all his time into inventing this VR machine, which is supposed to immerse you into a movie, and it's like you're actually part of the movie. You can interact with the characters, and you can. We find out during the movie that the episode that you can change actually what happens within the parameters of the movie, which is like, wow, that'd be a great thing. Of course, I think that if you could invent something like that in real life, movie fans would love that because they can make a fucking scream where Stu is alive. Oh god, I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole different thing. So he's finally finished inventing it. He shows his wife, who's excited to show it to. He's been sort of ignoring her since he's been working on this. She had a lot of money. Her dad disowned her because she's, like Dana said earlier, that her father thought that this dude was just wanted her money, didn't really love her. But she defied her dad, ended up going with him. So, but then again, while he's been working on this machine, he's been ignoring her. There's a point where she's like, "Oh, you're done with the machine. Can we now go out and have dinner and actually have a marriage?"
Wife.
Yeah. So right here, you're like, ugh, dude, seriously? And then she's got one of those like, well, I know I'm not the most attractive. And she's not like a model, but she's not ugly in any sense.
Oh, I think
she's very cute. I think she's very attractive. Anyway, so he's like, he wants to show her the machine and how it works, but she's claustrophobic. So basically, like you said earlier, it's like a tanning bed where it opens up, you lie down in it, it closes down. All you have basically, only thing you can move is your thumb to it's like a little joystick kind of thing with buttons on it. The sort of helmet with the goggles and sound, so you'll be immersed in the movie. And he's like, no, you're actually in the movie. You don't even know that you're in the thing, whatever. So anyway, he's over a few nights he starts using the VR, and like, you think he would call somebody and like, hey, let's patent this and let's build. No, he's playing with it like a toy. So he's basically a 10-year-old kid who gets a toy and just wants to play with it all weekend and doesn't want to.
He's addicted to it pretty much.
He basically gets addicted to it. So he can go into any movie he wants, and he picks Horror Express. We find out that it's the first movie his father showed him when he was younger. It was sort of their bonding thing, and he had fallen in love with one of the characters. So if you see you can see where this is going. So he gets immersed in the movie. He first starts getting excited. Oh, look, it's Peter Cushing and it's Christopher Lee, and like, oh, this is the scene that happens. Oh, and he's actually like going up to the things and looking at them, and he's touching them and stuff like that. So everything's interactive. Which, like, if that existed, first of all, nobody would leave their house ever.
No.
And you would probably, and there have been sci-fi movies and TV shows and series where someone gets like a robot or whatever, and they start treating it like it's a human, and they fall in love with it and that kind of stuff. So he goes from being excited about being in the movie and there's a monster and everything to being, oh, that's the girl I fell in love with. Now he literally has an affair with her, and he is a point where he ends up having sex with her. So he's sort of ignoring his wife, and he's like, oh no, I'm just excited. And she's like, she's a little she's like, she believes him, but doesn't believe him. Also, it's like, she gave up her family to be with this guy, and she basically has nothing else. There's a point where he's like, he wants to just play with the toy, and he pretends he's sick, and he's like, they're supposed to be going out to dinner, and she's like, oh, I'll call a friend. And I'm like, she's like, doesn't really call anybody, because I'm going to guess she doesn't really have any friends.
Right.
Which is really, it's like, they're really sad at making this very sad for her. And it's like, she's rich. She can do anything she freaking wants to. What if all this guy was doing, I'm being a little critical about the characters, but like, she can go out anywhere, do anything she wants. She's got money. She can take a trip to the Bahamas or Bermuda or whatever. She doesn't have to be waiting around the house for him to pay attention to her. Blah. I mean, like, not that I am blaming her, but I'm like, bitch, get the hell out of there and find yourself a better man is what I want to say to her.
Yeah, pack your bags and leave. You don't have to stay with him.
But anyway, we're only getting a glimpse of her. We're not really getting the full, like, her full story. We're only kind of getting the idea of her story, but seeing what
we had to spend too much time with Justin Long.
I'm sorry, we had to. And also, this is a one story episode, so it's the whole 45 minutes is this episode. Exactly. But there are points where they sort of cut to scenes happening within the Horror Express movie.
Yeah.
So I think this movie, they probably could have taken out 10 minutes if they just taken out those scenes and just shown you a couple of the clips. Because then they have, because they have to have him, Justin Long, interacting with the Countess, who's the character in the movie that he's in love with.
You know, I not to say anything bad about Greg Nicotero, but I'm sure that was a little overindulgence having more of those movie scenes in there. Because Greg Nicotero, I think, was doing the fanboy thing.
Is he a fan of that movie? Has he ever talked about it?
I don't know about that that one for sure, but I bet Night of the Living Dead.
Well, there's not as much Night of the Living Dead because it's mostly about horror.
I'll have to go look, but I just figured it was a fanboy type of thing, that they liked that classic, type of stuff with Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and stuff like that.
Yeah. But why would you pick this movie? Like, it's not a bad movie. It's like one of the lower tier British horror movies.
Well, maybe because of that public domain thing.
It's got Telly Savalas in it, who did a lot of overseas movies. He did some Bava stuff, and he did 2 Bava movies. He did the Lisa and the Devil, and he did what's the other Bava movie he did? I can't remember now.
Shoot,
I think he did 2 Bava movies, right? We're thinking the 2 Lisa and the Devil, because Lisa and the Devil was 2 movies technically.
Yeah, it was
the same movie, but they added and took away certain things. I can't remember. Anyway, so we have scenes with the Countess. He meets up with her. So there's scenes where they have scenes of the actual actress interacting with him from the dialogue within the movie, but then they have actually another actor who she is playing the version of her where they have to do scenes where where she's actually interacting with other things with him and stuff that is dialogue related to the episode. And the actress who played her, Hannah Fierman, she was in the VHS movie. She was the one that was the one that had the woman who the frat boys take into.
Oh, yeah.
The frat boys like get these 2 girls and have sex with them in their hotel room, and she turns into this monster with the fangs and the wings, and she takes one away, and then they made a movie out of it.
Right.
So she's in it. She doesn't look much like the actress who she's supposed to be portraying, so I'm like, and she got some good close-ups too, and I'm like, kind of, but they were working with what they had. Anyway, so then
we got a new subscriber, this Dub.
Thank you. I like any subscriber. When I actually start putting stuff on my page, well, I am starting something. I haven't recorded anything, but I came up with an idea that I'm going to start. Let me get to this episode before I talk about it. Anyway, I'll bring it up. If you're gonna ask me, you have anything coming up? Anyway, so we're going in between Justin Long being, having an affair with this woman to his wife Renee, and her sort of trying to have some kind of life going on. So anyway, so this is a part of the episode where, like I said, they're supposed to go out to dinner. He pretends he's sick. She pretends to call a friend, but she doesn't. And she's like, well, I'm going now. And he's like, oh, okay, bye. I'm in bed. He's so bad too. He does one of those really bad,
Oh,
like,
it was like this little kid thing, or
yeah, stuff you'd see in like a ridiculous comedy, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
yeah, that's
I'm
what I
sick.
was
I can't
thinking.
go out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
So he go, she ends up sitting in her car basically while he's having an affair, and he literally. So she finally is sick of waiting in the car. She goes back into the house and she's like, first of all, this is the freaking nicest house. As she's walking in, there are pools on each side of the like the walkway, and I'm like, who has indoor pools? That's rich.
Yep.
And I'm like, first of all, like, why are there pools in your front hallway? I don't even get that, but I guess you're rich. You can do anything you want. Anyway, she goes in and she's like, Simon, where are you? He's not answering her. She goes into the room with the machine. His clothes are all on the floor, and we see through the side of the machine. We don't see his butt. We see only the side of him. It's like Jay. We only see the side of him naked, and we hear him doing moaning sounds because he's having sex with the character in the. Well, Renee is pissed off.
I would be pissed
and
off.
hurt as she should be. I'm like, dude, and like you didn't know when she could come home at any minute, man. Why would you be doing this?
Because
like,
he's just a lot. He doesn't give a shit.
There's one point where he's trying to make her believe, the wife believe, that he still really loves. I don't know. We don't really know what he feels, but he ends up having sex with her. The kind of one of those shut up sex things where it's like, I love you. I'm going to have sex with you to prove it, kind of thing. And then he immediately goes, while she's sleeping, he sort of pushes her off of him and goes to do the VR thing. And it's like, dude, you're a terrible husband. Anyway, earlier when she's in the car, she actually calls her dad because she's trying to she still wants to be part of her dad's life, and maybe she'll convince him that Simon really loves her. But as we've seen, he's having sex with her. But then again, is it really cheating? Because she's not really real. She's a character in a movie. I mean,
well, I know, but he's been so shitty to his wife anyway that I think he deserves everything that's coming to him, which we're going to be talking about here in a sec.
So anyway, she's hurt, obviously, with good reason. Then, it's obviously the part where she's like, doesn't know what she's going to do. But she decides she's going to suck up her fear of being claustrophobic. She's going to go into the movie and kind of see what it's about and what's going on. Meanwhile, she's in the movie, and it's the scene where in the Horror Express, this creature can basically melt your mind and take away your memories, and it just leaves sort of this smooth, empty shell of a brain. So this is the scene where Peter Cushing and two other characters are doing an autopsy on this person who was killed, and they cut off the head, the skull, and they see the brain is all smooth and everything. So that's interspersed with the character of Renee confronting the Countess, and she goes into the Countess is there with her husband, and she's like, "Your wife has been having an affair with my husband," and I was like, which is kind of funny because it's not real, but
right.
So she ends up sort of having a slap fight with the Countess, and she goes chasing after the Countess, and the Countess is like, "He doesn't love you. He loves me." And she's doing so the Countess is like German or something, and I think the woman doing the accent is German, but her accent doesn't sound good at all. But I don't know. Right. I'll have to look up if she's really German or not. But I'm like, this accent is not good. Anyway, she has her confrontation, and she gets out of there. She's sick of being in that thing. So you think, oh, it's over. She confronted the woman who was having an affair with her husband, and she's gonna have it out with her husband. She doesn't let him off that easy. They have she makes him breakfast, and she's very smiley and very happy, and you think, oh, she's kind of over it now. No, he goes in to be in the machine. She basically locks him in there.
Yep.
And he's trying to get out. She cuts off his thumb with a pair of shears. So he can't shut off the thing anymore. She changes the movie from before she cuts off his thumb, she changes the movie from Horror Express to Night of the Living Dead. And it's the scene where Judy and her boyfriend have been killed in the truck, and they're just sort of everybody's trapped and the lights go out. And Justin Long is like, "Oh, cool! I'm in a different movie. Oh, wait a minute. And he's like, what's this movie? I can't remember the name. It's meanwhile, everything's happened in the movie, and I'm like, it's Night of the Living Dead, you idiot. It's even on his list of movies. It's like, it's like Netflix where you flip through the movies.
Yeah.
And it's like she's going through all the movies, and it's like fake movies and then some real movies. Oh, by the way, the ashtray is in the bedroom of the couple's bedroom, but it's in a reflection of the mirror, and you have to know where it is to see it. It's like they're not really they're like making you like go through every frame of this episode to find the ashtray, which I like, but I did cheat in find because I was like, where's the ashtray? And I cheated and I went online and I looked it up. But every other time though, I saw where the ashtray was. Okay.
Now I'm gonna have to go back and find all the ashtrays now.
So yeah. So anyway, she switches into the Night of the Living Dead, and he's like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And he's like, "Oh, the zombies are attacking. That's kind of creepy." I mean, he's like really getting into it. Then she cuts his finger off, his thumb off. He can't do it, and then the zombies attack him. Oh, I left out the big part. So when she goes into the movie and confronts the Countess, she's attacked by the monster. And what the monster does is he looks at you in the eyes, in your eyes start bleeding.
It's kind of like the priest in Gates of Hell.
Yeah, I wonder if Fulci stole that from this movie because the Horror Express was before.
Yeah,
was before that movie. So anyway, so their eyes start bleeding, and then he basically fries their brain, so their eyes turn all white, like egg whites, and it fries the brain. So it's actually doing that to her. So that's where we kind of find out that what actually happens in the movie in the VR actually happens to the person.
Yeah.
So she gets away without being killed, and you'll see like when she's making breakfast the next morning, her eyes are sort of like there's a little rash under them. And he doesn't notice this. Obviously, he's a bad, shitty husband. He probably would have noticed anyways. So anyway, he gets attacked by the zombies. And they actually bite him, and he actually bites all, and you can see him sort of bleeding, and the blood sort of dripping out of the thing, and that's basically the end of the episode. So he gets that's what you get for cheating. You get eaten by zombies.
Yeah.
Never cheat on your wife or husband, or you're gonna get eaten by zombies.
Even if you cheat within a VR movie thing, so. The only thing that would have been worse is if one of the zombies bit his penis off or something, because he had an affair with the Countess.
I mean, that would have been a good.
But
and the best part, it switches from the movie to scene VR animated scenes from Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. So obviously they show the cemetery, they show the bodies out there. I think there's a point where the Justin Long character is now a zombie within the. I think it's the one that attacks the crypt, the creep.
I think you're right.
Because at the beginning of the episode, the creep is actually playing a VR version of his Creepshow, basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was kind of cool. That actually looked like the animation works for that situation. And then, like at the end, like I said, the Night of the Living Dead, the creep gets attacked by I think it's the Justin Long as a zombie now. And then we see the Dawn of the Dead helicopter, and then it flies over the what's the name of the mall?
Monroeville Mall.
The Monroeville Mall, and then it goes to the bunker in Day of the Dead, and and somebody, the person playing the game is on the little elevator thing that they come down, and then that's the
Mhm.
end of it. But I thought, oh, that's a cool like addition to it. And it filled out the last couple of minutes of the episode, which I thought was kind of a cool. They weren't boring you with more with trying to do more story. They were just like, oh, look at we're referencing the
And
Romero stuff.
and Greg Nicotero actually worked on Day of the Dead
Yes.
with Savini and some of the other guys. So, um, but Dub likes your shirt,
Yeah.
TJ. I like it too. That's a cool shirt.
This is the shirt that when I met Tom Savini, he liked, and he's like, I've never seen that shirt before. And a buddy of his who was at the table with him had gone off to do something, and he's like, hey, come over here, look at this shirt, because I guess this hadn't been out yet.
So, needless to say, TJ had a good interaction with Tom
Yeah,
Savini.
yeah. So,
Unlike some people, I
well,
didn't.
you guys brought that up at the thing the other day.
Yeah, I didn't have a bad interaction with him either. He might have been a little reserved, but
Yeah.
he didn't act like an asshole to me or anything like that. Just a little reserved. Um, and so moving on to this section is a double animated uh, episode. So the first one, a survivor type, is based on a short story by Stephen King that I read years and years ago. Interesting little story. Have you ever read the story Survivor Type, TJ?
No.
You should, because it's I mean, this was fun, but it didn't really get a chance to flesh out the story as
You're
much.
gonna have to talk about it because I didn't watch it.
Whoops. Okay.
I watched the other special. I watched the Christmas special.
You watched the Christmas. So you didn't watch the Twittering from the Circus of the
No,
Dead?
because I was looking. I hated the animation because it's that shitty. They call it something. Motion something. Is that what it's called? Motion animation. What's it called?
It is that weird animation. I didn't really care for it either.
So I was turned off by it. I was like, I can't stand at this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't end up watching the episode.
That's okay. I can, kind of take over this part.
Strangely, I watched the first episode of season 3.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't get that far, but
I'm sorry. Anyway, yes, talk about the.
All right. So Survivor Type, and this actually, I swear, I'm not lying. There is a character in this that looks strangely like a caricature of Stephen King. It's one of the characters that the surgeon is talking about. So we have this surgeon, Richard, who is voiced by Kiefer Sutherland. And I guess I didn't really notice it when I was watching it, but then I was looking to see, this is a really short cast. You have two people. You have Richard and you have Gloria. So, so anyway, we hear about Richard, who's a surgeon, who's stuck on this island with not a lot to eat. He's the only one that survived this shipwreck. He was on a ship, and he's addicted to drugs. He sold drugs. He had a shitty childhood. His dad, didn't treat him good. But he keeps saying all I ever wanted to be was a surgeon. So when he was in college, he played sports a lot because he said that would get his foot in the door. And so he goes through medical school and all that, and he does become a surgeon. But what does a surgeon have to do? Always, they have to protect their hands. So when he's stuck on this island with basically a few birds, and there's a dead woman that maybe that's Gloria. That's who he refers to as Gloria. But she's dead by that point. She's just this corpse laying over the side. And you see him like killing birds. And he says one of the reasons he keeps Gloria around is because she draws the birds and they get close enough and he can take rocks and kill them and then drag them over to him and eat them. Okay, well, so gradually the food supply, albeit birds, kind of dries up. So what does he do? He starts eating some of his own body parts. So he takes his feet first, he saws them off and eats them. And he has to eat this stuff raw because there's nothing he can use to build a fire or anything.
Mm.
And so by the end of this, he's pretty much taken all of his body part. You know, he's taken his legs, he's taken his feet and ate them. And he keeps trying to save his hands, keeps trying to save his hands, but he can't save them anymore. And the last scene is him eating his hands, and he says, "Lady fingers. They taste just like lady fingers." And people might say, "Well, Dana, that sounds kind of hokey." And I'm like TJ. I didn't really care for the animation on this one or Twittering from the Circus of the Dead because they were both the same essentially.
Yeah.
And it that didn't do it for me, but I kind of enjoyed seeing Survivor type in any format because I had never seen anybody do a short film or anything with Survivor type. Maybe somebody else had. Maybe Stephen King might have sold it as a dollar baby to a film student, but
Right.
I, alas, have never seen a short film version of it. But
And you
I,
still haven't.
oh, uh, but the first time I read Survivor Type, I believe, was not in the Stephen King short story collection, but when I was a kid, I found this book in the store of, it was called Terrors, I think. And it
Uh-huh.
had a skeleton hand coming up out of a puddle of blood. And it, even my young age that I was then, I was probably too young to be reading that shit at that time. But my parents, there were very few things that they tried to shield me from. You know, I've talked about I spit on your grave and stuff like that. They obviously shielded me from that. But I saw this book and I just had to have it. And I said, Mom, look at this book. I come running up to my mom, showing it to her. She said, "All right, Dana, we'll get it for you." So her and Dad bought it for me. And I took it home and just started ravenously reading it. Well, I think the final story in that book was Survivor Type. And there was a bunch of other horror authors' uh, stories in there as well. But that was my first introduction to Stephen King's Survivor Type. But this was a good version of it, but I just think it could have been done a little better and with some better animation. This one was again directed by Greg Nicotero, and he did the teleplay. And like I said, it was based on a short story by Stephen King, which leads in to Twittering from the Circus of the Dead, which, again, this was the weaker of the two little animated stories that, in my opinion, it was the weaker of the two. And what it showed me, I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but what it showed me is just how far removed from reality kids and teenagers are nowadays, because they're always in their devices, they're always in their cell phones, their tablets, their whatever. And they just think everything's just like TJ just did there.
Oh, do you like my phone case?
That is cool though.
Well, yeah, well, but whenever I'm like in a doctor's office, sometimes I'm like this, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, I put it
Yeah, it's
away.
like, oops, I don't want to do that. Yeah.
It's happened a few times, but I do sometimes when I'm driving, and I do this just to the people beside me, just because.
If they piss you off, you think,
Yeah.
there you go. Um, but
Anyway,
uh, but anyway, the reason why this is called, obviously, Twittering from the Circus of the Dead is that this family, I guess they are on vacation or something, and they end up at some kind of supposed roadside attraction, some kind of circus. But this is a circus where most of the audience are corpses, but the family doesn't know this at first because it's so dark inside this circus tent.
Ah.
And so they bring out a line, there's these zombies, and all the time the teenage girl in this family is on Twitter, just constantly twittering about what's going on. And it's clear to me that she thinks that this is all fake. And so her younger brother ends up on some kind of wheel in the center of this circus,
Hmm.
and basically the zombies kill him, and then he gets turned into a zombie, and then by that time it's too late for the family to escape because they're converged upon by zombies. And it's at around that point that the daughter realizes, oh my god, there have been dead people all around us, these are real zombies, and now there's basically no escape. Her dad is turned into a zombie, and so it ends as many of these things do with, they're in deep shit. They're
Yeah.
gonna probably get killed and turned into zombies by the end of it. And you still see her broken phone as like the final scene, and somebody is still doing the Twitter thing, and it's like an advertisement for this Circus of the Dead. And if you look closely, it says the audience will be the concessions, or you will be the concessions, which obviously means, yeah, the zombies are going to eat your ass and turn you into a zombie. So I like Survivor type better than this one because this one was a little bit too teenage oriented for me. And I don't know if Greg Nicotero, maybe he watched his kids or something like that, or maybe he watched other kids and saw how they interact with their devices, and that kind of helped him come up with this idea
I
because
don't know. Adults do it too, Dave.
they do, but it's a lot of it is younger people. Would you agree with that, TJ? That a lot of I mean, I know there are adults that are as addicted to Twitter as a teenager, but
Donald Trump was tweeting while the
that
Oscars
guy's
were
a
going.
moron.
He he instead of preparing for his running his campaign for for president, he was waiting. He's just waiting for people to make jokes about him. I want to tell that Jimmy Kimmel what I think of that son of a bitch, and then vote for me, you bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that Trump's an example of a extreme moron that he thinks that's cool to get on there and badmouth people on Twitter, I guess. Um, but Dub says motion capture animation, like in the film RoboCop 2. That's what he says that's called. Um, and Super Batman Nerd says, I like to think that when she was changing the channels, talking about the episode with Justin Long,
Yeah,
that it was a nod to Wes Craven's Shocker or Stay Tuned maybe with John Ritter. And it could have been. I mean, that's
maybe.
possible.
I think that VR stuff was way before that. That stuff's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah. VR's been around in one format or another
Yeah.
for quite a while. So that brings us to the Creepshow holiday special,
What I actually watched.
which is not animated.
Thank God.
After we had those two.
I mean, I know what they were doing with this past episode that you talked about, because it's a comic book come to life,
Right.
but still in the framework of a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a while back, before the movie came out, they did something like that with the hell's that? Damn it! See, Julia Carpenter, I remember, but there's something I'm talking about now I can't remember. What the hell is it? The Watchmen.
Oh,
Before the
right.
Watchmen movie came out in the series, they did that with they brought the comic book to life. They did a movie version, but basically they took the panels of the movie and animated parts of them, and then they had actors do the voices, which that made sense because at the time there wasn't a movie yet, and I thought that was a cool concept. But as far as sitting down and watching an episode of a TV show that's a live action TV show, using that animation, which I'm gonna guess because it was cheap, they probably used it
Mm.
instead of making full animation. So I'll give them credit for that. I just at the time I didn't feel like watching it. It just I wasn't in the mood. So not saying it's bad. It's just at the time it wasn't for something I felt like watching. Um,
Well, that happens to me a lot of times. I think in my case the reason that happens is because me and Steve have so many movies between us. There's so much streaming stuff and all that, and so I have a hard time deciding. I think I'll watch this, and then I think, no, I don't want to watch that. I don't feel like watching that today.
yeah,
How about I'll watch this? No, I don't feel like watching that today. And me and Steve go back and forth. Like, I'll say, why don't we watch this? No, I don't want to watch that. I feel like I just watched that. We just go back and forth. But I think that's because we've just got entertainment overload. There's
yeah.
just too much stuff. But anyway, the episode is Shapeshifters Anonymous, and I don't know what I just didn't care for this. I thought it was kind of just overly silly. What in the heck was the deal with the Kringles? I know they were trying to have a Christmas special or a holiday special, but
Yeah.
what Edward Scissorhands slash Wolverine, evil Santa Claus? I didn't get that. That's the best way to describe it. But I'm gonna turn it over to TJ because he did watch this one, so I'm gonna let him talk about it.
Um, yeah. By the way, there's a company called Winter Entertainment, and they actually put out a VHS of the holiday and
Oh,
um,
interesting.
the animated special, which I thought was cool. So check them out. They get some they get some cool movies and they put them on VHS. Some movies, well, not that they're movies I don't like. It's some people, some like they did like I have. Where is it? They put out the Holliston Christmas special
Oh,
on
okay.
VHS, so
Interesting.
which is cool.
Yeah.
They actually
I
got
actually like the Holliston show.
yeah. People don't like Adam Green, but I really like the show. I thought the show was great.
Hmm.
Frozen was a good movie too. I don't know. Have you ever seen Frozen?
Have not seen Frozen. I guess because I was, I think I bought the first Hatchet, and then I thought it was so god awful that it kind of turned me off of Adam Green stuff till I discovered Halston.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So this guy, that was the guy's name. I should have brought up the IMDb about the Creepshow Christmas special. Fa la 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 la. So we have the creep with this. He's dressed as Santa, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Is it Robert? Was that the guy? Frank Nicotero is in this,
Yes, he is.
which I didn't know there was a Frank Nicotero.
I did not either, but I
like,
did see the name though.
and It's funny. There's a character named Scott Howard, and the guy who plays him looks like he would be one of the Howards from.
Yeah,
Like he looks like Clint a little bit.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's Robert. So Robert's this dude. He knocks on this. So it's when you go to the club and it's like a secret club and they open the little hatch and they look out. He's like, knock knock. They're like, we don't know you. You gotta go. He's like, I know the password. It's what was it? Landis? Is that
Landis.
it was
Yeah.
Landis. So there's a lot of werewolf references in this. He's basically at it's not Alcoholics Anonymous. It's what is it? Can't remember what it's called. Shapeshift, or the title, Shapeshifters Anonymous.
Uh-huh.
Not much of a spoiler. It's kind of about werewolves. So this guy comes. It's basically like an AA meeting, except it's for people who can change into other things. But it's not just werewolves. There are different names for it. But one guy turns into a turtle.
One lady turns into a cat creature.
Another guy turns into a boar.
Mm-hmm.
Not a guy who you don't want to invite to your party, but a guy.
Right.
A guy with oink oink type of boar. And we have this woman she's a furry. So she dresses up like another animal. She's a hippo, but she doesn't turn into a hippo. She just dresses like a hippo. But she's a nice person, so they let her sit in on the group, which I thought was I thought that's funny. That's actually funny. And then there's this guy who's just sort of sitting there and he doesn't talk and we don't really get anything out of him. So we're basically getting to know everybody else.
Back to everybody else a lot of the time, if I remember correctly.
They're like, we don't know about this guy. He doesn't talk, but he comes to all the meetings and he's always on time and whatever. But at first they're not going to let him in. And he's like, I brought donuts. And he's got like holiday donuts. And
he's got donuts and holiday cookies and stuff.
So first they don't talk to him. They just eat the pastries is all they want at the time. And then it's a comedy. So there's a lot of funny jokes and stuff like that, but it's a lot of sitting down and talking. But there's more to it than just it's more to it than just them and their issues. And the guy, he doesn't want to be a werewolf anymore.
Right.
He tells the story of we do get flashbacks of how they're like, so how did you figure out you were a werewolf? Well, he basically ate his land, or he ate a neighbor and the neighbor's cat.
Yeah.
So there's like this lady is like, you make too much noise and I'm going to call the cops. And he's like, okay, later. And then the next day we find out that he ate her, which I thought that's funny. That the comedy of, I think.
That's a way to get rid of annoying neighbors, isn't it? If you're a werewolf.
Yes. And basically, they're like, well, he's like, well, what can I do to stop it? Well, you got to go to the person who cursed you. Yeah. And the person who cursed him was the woman he ate. So he can't stop his werewolf-ness, I guess. But we find out it's more than just that. Now it's turned into Santa Claus is an ancient being who's been around, and he basically was sent from God to kill all the lycanthropes and all the other thropes that exist.
Yeah. All the other shapeshifters. I guess.
All the other shapeshifters. So they're sort of fearful of the Santa Claus, and the guy's like I can believe I'm a werewolf, but Santa Claus goes around killing people and all, and.
Well, obviously they haven't heard of Krampus, and
well, yeah, but that's not part of this.
No.
Actually, I always thought of there's the show Futurama, and they have like an evil Santa Claus, and every year at Christmas, everybody hunkers down. It's sort of like the Purge where they all hide and stuff. But Santa's like this evil robot that'll kill you because everybody's naughty on his list. So kind of, not that it's not a robot Santa, but it kind of reminded me of that. But the actual Santa shows up, and he's in this like first he sends his. So they find out that they've been found by the Santa's helpers, because Santa's helpers are all sort of like they're all vigilantes who go around killing all the people who turn into other creatures. So they all sort of attack. And first we only see first we see them outside and they're blown up, but we only see the animated version. So as I was watching this, I was like, oh, are they going to show all the good stuff just be animated? No, we actually get some, when they actually break in and they fight them off with weapons, they sort of, we get heads chopped off, we get blood and guts all over the place. It's a nice gory scene. And then they basically kill most of them. One of them kind of runs away, and they shoot. They shoot them and stuff. And they think they're okay, but then nope. Santa comes in, and Santa's sort of dressed up in this like, not RoboCop, but he's like wearing like a robotic armor. He's wearing armor basically. And he sort of looks like the Krampus from the movie Krampus, sort of like the weird face and stuff like that. And we find out the guy who. So we hear about. We've been hearing about this guy Bob, who was sort of the first werewolf, and we find out it's the guy that's been sitting there not talking. And he does like one of those, rips off his shirt and he turns into the giant werewolf, and it's got the long arms. It's like it's a kind of a goofy puppet, but it kind of works for the comedy of the episode. And he has like a fight with Santa, but then they all try to fight Santa. Of course, the woman who can't turn into a monster, she's like, "Damn, I wish I had my my hippo suit." I forgot the part where they're like, "Well, how do we stop, Santa? We can't willingly turn into the creatures." Well, the guy we find out is Bob, the ancient werewolf. He has this sort of potion that if you drink it, you have control over changing into the creatures that you are and out of them. So he gives them all the drink, and then it's funny when the woman who's not really one of them drinks it, and she's like, "Well, damn, I can't do shit with this."
Everybody else is like transforming and
in various. The one who turns into a turtle is like kind of like a discount Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. He looks more like a real turtle than the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the kind of expressive mouths and stuff like that, because obviously you can't do a real turtle because they don't have mouths; they sort of have like a beak. So they have a big fight and they end up. Isn't the main guy is like the one who kills? I can't remember now. I haven't watched it for a while. Who kills Santa? Do you remember how does that?
Well, that one Santa that looks like a cross between like Edward Scissorhands and Wolverine and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that the lady that was the furry, she ended up killing.
Does she? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Let me just give me 2 seconds while I play the episode.
TJ's going to watch the episode and fast forward. So.
Yeah, the Santa's wearing this like leather outfit. It looks like something out of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
That's right. She cuts off Santa's head.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh man, she didn't think she could do anything. She ended up."
Yeah, she's all like, "Oh, this is cool," and everything like that. But it ends with them sort of a happy ending, and then it sort of ends with they're like, well, and this sort of like magical light emanates from Santa's dead body and sort of dissipates into the air or whatever.
And who's the guy though? Like, I missed this somehow. Who is the guy that comes and tells the furry lady that he's gonna make love to her all night? He's some young.
Oh, it's some. I think it's some rapper dude.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if he was a rapper.
Yeah, he was. What was his Little Yakty. I never heard of him.
Okay, yeah, okay.
They say his name. Yeah, he was a rapper. He had some song in 2015. I don't.
He was the only one that played himself.
Yeah. So everybody's the ending is everybody's happy. They can change back and forth through the creatures, and then the hippo, the woman who's the hippo. I hate saying that because she's kind of heavy. I'm not calling her a fat. I'm just
Right.
saying
Oh,
the
I know.
character is her furry character is a hippo. Anyway, she's like, well, I can't be like you guys. She's kind of disappointed. So the guy, the ancient werewolf guy, Bob, he's like, well, I know a way. Maybe you can sit on Santa's lap and make a wish, because Santa still is magical, even though he's a killer of people who. But technically, Santa's killing people who kill other people, but they weren't in control of changing into monsters. Now they're in control of it. So anyway, I'm trying to give them excuses. so anyway, she sits on Santa's dead body's knee, and she's like, makes a wish, and you're like, think, oh, she's gonna make a wish so she could be one of the creatures, and they're like, she's sitting there, and it's like, nope, she doesn't turn, and everybody's like, oh well, I guess it didn't work, and then she gets. What does she get? A message or something like that about the? So
I just remember the dude walking in.
well, there's more to it than that. We find out that she's won like $100 million, and then this rapper dude is in love with her and wants to take her away and be her lover or whatever. So her wish wasn't to become this creature. She was smart. She wished for money. Which that's another funny ending. Is like
guy that wants to make love to her till the end of time.
Hey, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, And she leaves and is like, "I'll see you at the meeting next week." Yeah. And it sort of ends in the main dude in the sexy panther woman or whatever she is. They sort of go off together, and it ends with with them, because earlier on she's like, yeah, I'll go on a date with you, and then later on, after all the commotion happens, he's like, would you like to go out for coffee? And she's like, no. How about we go back to your apartment?
Yeah.
So it's a happy ending, except for all the wives of those dead Santas that hanging around the house.
Unfortunately,
yeah. Like, how do you get rid of those dead bodies? Do you throw them in a cavern, or what's going on?
But it's a Creepshow episode, so somebody has to die.
Yeah, but so I mean, yeah, it was. I think if it was shorter, it might have been. I think you might have liked it better.
I think it was a little overlong.
Yeah, because it was sort of like two things. It had the Shapeshifters Anonymous part, and then it had the Santa is actually evil and going around killing, innocent people.
Right. So Super Batman Nerd's talking about Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I didn't get around to watching this past holiday season.
I know it's about a robot Santa that goes around killing people. So
I need to watch it, because I know Uncle Bill liked it, but he says CBC is like Silent Night, Deadly Night meets the Terminator.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun. Yeah,
but I have to wait till Christmas to watch it. It's off season.
TJ can't watch it now. No. I may have to say what the hell I'm gonna.
I can wait.
Watch it anyway.
I can wait till 6 months or 7 months or whatever.
But
I'll watch it when Terrifier 3 comes out.
There you go.
Terrifier 3 comes out. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch Terrifier 3. I just can't help myself.
I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with it. If it's gonna be what they've been teasing it to be, with the killing the little kid, and then I think someone showed him dressed as a mall Santa or something like that at some point.
Okay.
So I'm like, are they gonna have both things, or
Christmas in July? That's right, Blissful.
It's only March, so it's still a ways away.
If we can make it to July, then maybe we can do Christmas in July.
Yeah.
But I know TJ wanted to talk about what's going on with him, or
Yeah, I haven't filmed anything yet, but I came up with a YouTube idea that is something that I don't think anybody's really done, or at least if they've done it, they don't do it as a whole, like, multi-episode thing. I don't want to say exactly what it is because I don't want to give anybody any ideas. They might do it before me.
There you go. That's smart.
But I am going to do something that I've always wanted to do. I want to incorporate clips from stuff that are sort of like, you know, like a, not like a Mystery Science thing, but like, you know, like I've always wanted to use the line from A Nightmare on Elm Street where Nancy goes, "You're nothing, you're shit." So if something's like a bad scene in a movie or something like that, or like that'll come up. Or like if I start rambling, I'll play something like, "I want to know what the hell you're gonna do. I don't know what the hell you've been doing with my time." You know, the Rhodes from Day of the Dead.
Yes. That'll be hilarious. I can't wait to see what you do with that, TJ.
But
And the other thing sounds interesting too, but yeah, I definitely don't want TJ to give that away
I'm
because
sure nobody cares. But I like
I,
doing that.
yeah, I mean, if you got an idea, it's probably, if you even have an inkling that somebody might take that and run with it,
Yeah.
it's probably better to kind of keep the core of it to yourself till you're ready to announce it fully.
I will say if when I finally finish it, my first episode will be about Day of the Dead. But
Okay.
that's all I'm gonna say. I'm
That's
giving out
all.
little teasers here and there.
And let's see. Well, coming up for me, like not this weekend, but the following weekend, uh, Sunday, I can guarantee I won't be doing a movie munchies that day because I will be in Cincinnati
Oh, that's
at
right.
Horror Hound Weekend, hanging out with, hopefully hanging out with the Ramey brothers and the William Cat and buy me some stuff from Terror Threads and maybe getting me some movies or something like that from the vendors that are going to be there. But I'm really excited that Terror Threads is going to be there because I haven't ever bought any of their shirts, but I've always wanted to. So hopefully they'll have some of the sleepaway camp ones. I want to, with Felissa Rose on them. I want to get those.
You don't want to meet Eli Roth with the Dead Pig guys? I couldn't bribe Uncle Bill with $100, huh? Boy, he must be rich.
I know that was surprising, wasn't it?
I would have given them both $100, but yeah, whatever. My offer's off the table, so sorry. I'm not.
Oh, it's off the table now.
Oh, you now when I offer is when you have to jump on it. Otherwise, forget it.
Blissful says, "Can't wait, TJ. It will be amazing." And
I don't know. It might suck.
no, you don't give yourself enough credit, TJ. Batman says, "Awesome stream, Dana and TJ." Well, thank you, Batman.
Thank you very much.
Blissful says, "Eventful weekend for me. I'm buying yarn." Yeah, Blissful's been doing some amazing things with yarn, more amazing than I could do with yarn. She's been crocheting and stuff up a storm. So
I saw a great TikTok. So this guy, he's like, I made this throwing star out of the yarn. Let's see if it works. He throws it at a guy, and then it looks like it's got red yarn all where the wound is, and then he spits up red yarn like he's spitting up blood, which I thought was the funniest thing.
That's hilarious. Was it on TikTok, you said?
Yeah, it was on TikTok.
I might have to
watch TikTok while you can before the country gets rid of it.
So what are they seriously talking
about?
Well,
the Congress, there's a bill that's supposed the TikTok the owners have to sell it to a different, because they think there's a communist owner to it. It's basically America's.
Oh my God, are we in
the? I mean, it's like America doesn't want, if it's not something they create, they don't want you to have it. And they're talking about, well, it steals your information. I was like, this shit in America that steals your information on the computer. Everything, anything you do on the computer will steal your information. I mean,
yep.
I mean,
you can go to the doctor's office and get your information stolen. Yeah. I mean,
so they're like, they don't want anybody else having control over something and making money, or and right. they want like douchebag to buy it, and they're going to call it X Another
Extra, extra second or
X Part 2, the sequel. I mean, what are they going to call it?
please don't let that guy have anything else.
Yeah, I think they just want to they want to have somebody own it so they can make some kind of. They probably want to like all the functions. They probably want to charge you for everything. Like if you want to do editing, you have to spend $2 a month or whatever. It's like what? It's like let everything can take your information. I don't see why. Why don't you concentrate on? It's like there's nothing else going on in America that we want that we're worried about, but worried about TikTok. Like there's nothing else that's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they got their priorities mixed up is all I can say. Batman says TikTok can blow me for muting my vids.
Did they mute his video? I know recently they lost some kind of contract with the music company, so tons of people with videos have all the music has been stripped because they no longer have access to the music. Because you can't download your own stuff. Even if it's like something you own, you can't download it unless it's on there.
Wow.
Which I was like, I wanted to do something with some music that I not that I owned, but I had permission to use, and it's like I can't do anything with it because TikTok doesn't let you upload to them. You can upload videos, but you can't edit sound unless it's something that's already in their files or whatever. But yeah, recently they lost some kind of contract, and you scroll through and people's videos are like this sound doesn't exist anymore. And people doing dances to it. It's just like people dancing to no music.
Yeah, but that's weird. Dancing to silence.
Yeah, but whatever. It's either way, it's not going to affect me. Like I said, I only have 150 followers on TikTok, and I'm not making any money. I feel bad for people who are making money off of TikTok and they're living off of the TikTok. What if they don't have it anymore? What are they going to do for a job? Do you put that on unemployment? I'm a former TikTok person.
Blissful says Don Henley takeover.
The music, the singer.
Yeah, I think so. She's told me something about Don Henley, and I can't.
Did him too.
I don't think so.
When are you going to interview Blissful? Wasn't that the friend of hers? Why don't you interview her?
Oh, Wayne. Oh, her friend Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I keep trying to get Blissful on here, and she won't get on here with me. Somebody encourage her.
Blissful, come on and watch along. Come on.
Give her $100, TJ. Maybe
I'm not giving her $100.
You were going to
get. I knew Uncle Bill wasn't going to say yes. That's why I offered.
So you're saying you think Blissful will?
She's shy. She says, "Come on."
She does. She told me she's camera shy, panel shy.
Put on sunglasses. Put on sunglasses and a hoodie. Come on.
Like guys and gals in here, I used to be the shyest person ever. When I first started doing YouTube videos, I didn't even want to hardly be seen on the videos. Now look what I do. I do videos.
Get her off it. Get that face off.
I do streams 7 freaking days a week, and my face is on here, and
you're close to 800, by the way.
Yep. I did notice.
We got to get you to be 1,000 before the end of the year. By summer.
TJ's my campaign manager for that,
Blissful, why don't you do the audio only then? How about that?
I told her she could do that too. She wasn't quite ready to, come on camera. Then she could do the audio only and get herself used to it. TJ comes on here. Jay
I keep looking at myself, but that's all I'm doing right now.
Jay comes on here and gets naked for you guys. Come on.
Jay's a different breed.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind that you said that. Jay is a unique person, but he's a good friend.
He is.
He makes people laugh, and he takes a lot of stuff, and he has a good sense of humor about it. Whereas I don't have a good sense of humor about some things. I'm not going to dredge all that up, but I just wish I had Jay's sense of humor about things. Is really all I can say. Batman says he was camera shy too. Now he comes on for watch alongs and stuff. So,
all right, we won't force her.
Sticking her tongue out at you through an emoji.
Yeah, I saw him ignoring that.
Oh,
I have the choice to
Roxy.
ignore things when I want to.
Oh man. So Blizzle says evidently Don Henley has people checking out everything. I guess he's having them
Uh,
checked out to see if they're using Eagles music or something. I don't know.
by the way, I also got Rad on.
Cool. Did you
The,
get that at Walmart
yep,
also?
there's another steel book. They had a bunch of them, and I was like, do I really want these movies that bad just because they're a steel book? I mean, like I probably won't open Creepshow, but I'm gonna probably open Rad because I haven't seen it for a long time. I think it's on YouTube, but like I'd rather watch a good copy of it.
So TJ, I
And
must
Garrett's a
say,
big fan of. I mean,
oh, yes, he
I don't
is.
know if he specifically named his show after this, but
Oh, he probably did. Uh, he's a big fan of all things 80s. And if you
yes.
don't believe me, check out his streams. But I was going to say, TJ, your room where you're at, it looks very bright
It's,
tonight.
yeah, I changed it to green.
Okay.
Alexa, turn wall to blue. Yeah, is that better?
Well, I like seeing the brightness in your
You
room.
can actually see it. Yeah, you can see the Return of the Living Dead poster better
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
green. That's
So,
actually that's a one sheet. That's an old one sheet.
so I'm guessing that you usually have this blue
Yeah, it's
shine.
usually good.
Okay. But I thought it was nice. It was nice for a change to have that green.
So
And
now it makes my face shine more. Like I look more white, more pasty.
uh, Batman says, I was camera shy until Dana added Silent Night Deadly Night, and I was like, Tallahassee, it's time to nut up or shut up. But Blizzle says she's never met Don Henley. And
Ah.
I don't, the way she talks about him, I don't think she would want to meet him. But
I don't think he's hard rock enough for her. He's too poppy. I think
well, I think
she likes Guns N' Roses and
he's probably done and said some things that she doesn't agree with, is what I think. Um, Batman says getting ready for St. Patty Day,
is that
TJ.
because when it was green? Yeah, that's what it was for.
There you go. Yeah, because that's what this is that this weekend?
Is when is St. Patrick's Day? Isn't it like the
I think it's Sunday, isn't it? That's the
16th?
17th.
Is it the 17th usually? I always forget.
I thought it was the 17th.
Yep, it's the 17th.
But
And Easter is end of the month.
yeah, and me and Steve are going to the Newport Aquarium on Good Friday.
Are
I'm
you
not
gonna eat the fish because you're supposed to? Because it's
well, is I mean, I'm not trying to be offensive, TJ, but is that a Catholic thing?
yeah, you're not. I think that's a. Is it? Don't the Christians do that too? This is a
Well,
holy day. You don't eat fish
I'm
on Friday.
I'm a naughty girl then because
Good Friday. Yeah.
I'm sure I've ate fish on Good Friday.
Catholics are basically Christians. It's the same thing. I don't. They're just like
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
all the
in
same
the
crap.
scheme of things, yeah,
Same Bible, same commandments, same.
yeah, yeah. That's the best way. I wish everybody saw it that way, TJ.
I'm like
Unfortunately,
Baptists are also Christians. They're just Baptists. There's a different. It's like
yeah,
it's like North Carolina and South Carolina. It's two parts of the same thing.
I grew up in a Baptist church, and like you know, I believe in. I've said this before. I believe in God and all of that, but the churches back home, I'll just say, in particular the Baptist churches, because that's where I was at most of the time
Mhm.
when I was in church, kind of soured me on the whole going to church thing. So now, I talk to God and stuff like that, and I pray and everything, but I just, people have made me where I don't want to go to church. Now, if I could find a good church, I think I'd probably start going back to church again. But other than that, I just kind of have church with me and God, I guess. When I feel like talking to God or need to ask God something, that's what I do. Um,
I mean,
Blissful,
Pat Robinson's in hell. We know that.
God,
You know, he has to be because he was a piece of garbage. Anyway, I'm sorry he's dead, but I'm glad he's dead.
well, I'll just say I'm glad he's not around talking that nonsense that he would always talk. But Blizzle says apparently she's going to church this Sunday.
That's for me. Does she have to put on sunblocks? Nah, that's a joke.
My dad always used to say, I'm as nervous as a whore in church. And I mean, my dad was, my dad would, believe in God and everything, but he wasn't, didn't think so highly of himself that he couldn't dip a little below that and say things like that. TJ knows.
I go to church, funerals, weddings.
Yeah. I'm here to tell you, I don't think you have to go to, like, some people think you got to go to church every Sunday and every Wednesday or whatever the schedule may be, but I just don't believe that way. There's some people that think you'll go to hell if you don't go to church every time that they think you should, but
the parameters of what you do to go to hell are very
specific.
They're not specific. They're very like people pick and choose what they want to.
Well, yeah, but if you go straight,
they add shit. I'm like, did you just add something to the Bible? I mean,
right. But specifically though, if you go by, this might be, people might not like this, but for me, if you go strictly by the word of God, it's real specific about when you will go to hell. It's people that mix and match and add things, take things away, and just to suit their own needs. But anyway, I'll get off of a religious stance and we'll. I guess, TJ, is there anything else you want to bring up, talk about? Anybody got any questions for me and TJ? Be very careful with questions, though,
I
because
don't answer Jay and
TJ's
Dana show
not gay, so
questions. Sorry,
and he's not going to get naked. He's not going to pull down his pants or
none of
anything.
your business.
Batman said, I'm busting out my shitty Leprechaun Blu-ray collection and binge watch them except for the god awful.
Oh, that was terrible, terrible, terrible. Who was one of the? Was it Hornswoggle? Was the wrestler?
Hornswoggle.
When I had seen a clip, I think that after the movie came out or when the movie came out, and he did like an interview, and he's like, "Yeah, this is a good movie. It's not like that one with that loser Willow dude was in it." And I was like,
"That's pretty bad."
First of all, you're not an actor. You're a little annoying bitch, and that's number one. Number two, that movie was terrible. I don't know how you can say it was. Most of the WWEF produced movies are not good.
Gosh, yes. They're not good.
They're just trying them, except like maybe the older ones from the '80s. The
what was it? Santa's Sleigh that had Goldberg, or
yeah, but that wasn't a production of.
It wasn't.
No, that was just Goldberg wanted to be an actor.
I didn't work out very well.
Yeah, that was what maybe the worst Leprechaun movie was probably that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy like the first one, and I'll watch it sometimes.
Jennifer Aniston in her original nose. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Blizzle says the best wedding she went to was Hello Kitty and zebra stripe theme, and the bride gave the groom a lap dance. Now, when else can you see that?
No, it's even worse. Those Disney weddings where they go to Disney World and they have a wedding. I'm like, first of all, rich people things that falls under the only rich people do that category. People who can afford to fly there, rent those way too expensive hotel rooms and in Disney World land or whatever. And it's like, really? So people who can't afford it are not going to your damn wedding.
Yeah.
Those destination weddings are just like.
I think if I was going to get have a wedding anywhere. I would want to get married at a horror convention. There have been people that have actually got married at horror conventions.
Well, you're already married, so you can't do that.
Yeah, but I always say there's always room for a ceremony because me and Steve actually got married at the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I still keep dreaming of the day when I can have an actual ceremony.
Oh,
Never
okay.
too
No,
late
that's
for
different. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well,
that.
how dare I say that?
No, that's okay, TJ. You didn't know. So, yeah, I'll go to Vegas, Blissful.
Yeah, you get Elvis to marry you and sing at your wedding.
But I'm going to tell Steve we're going to have to hurry up and do it. Otherwise, we're going to be too old, and then we're going to say to hell with it. We're not going to do it.
I saw the funniest TikTok where this guy was gonna propose to his wife at Disney World, and he had a bunch of balloons. And I guess you can't have balloons for some reason.
Hmm.
And they said, will you marry me or whatever? You see this, like, he's like this big guy. There's like this little security woman walking him to the area that's outside of the park. And he's
Oh
just
my
like, he's
God.
like walking with the balloons with this little woman kind of following behind him. And it's like, doo.
Well, that kind of ruined the mood, didn't
Yeah.
it?
So I guess you can, they don't mind you proposing, but you can't bring balloons in from outside. I didn't find out why, but it was just the funniest thing seeing this guy walk out with the balloons. It's like this
Oh, God.
gaming area, and it's just like,
Blissful
oh, I
says,
feel bad.
Blissful says her almost wedding looked cool. Yeah, Blissful had an
See, if
almost
she was
wedding.
on, she could tell us the story.
I keep trying, guys and gals. I keep trying.
It's okay.
One of these days, hopefully, I'll be able to get her on here.
We get
If not,
Dana, we get Kathy and Blissful. We have the
yeah.
I,
See, Kathy's been on here. Kathy's been, she's been on a TMI show. So there you go. Um, but Blissful says I sobered up. End of story. That's why she didn't end up getting married. Oh man. So
that saved
yeah.
you money. That's for sure.
So I guess we'll tie up this show for tonight. But I want to thank TJ for being on here with me. Otherwise, I think it would be very boring if I was on here talking about this stuff myself. Um, and I want to thank everybody that showed up in the chat. And Dub, I don't know if you're still in here, but welcome
It's
to
I
our.
now have 7 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I don't put anything up. I'm like, it's not like I'm like I put a bunch of stuff up and no one follows me. I just don't put anything up.
That's the thing. I mean, I bet if you were putting content on there all the time, you'd probably have thousands of subscribers, TJ.
Yeah, I might have tens. We'll see. We'll see when I get my series started how it works out.
Yeah. Oh. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says great live.
Thank you.
And on that note, I think that's a good part for us to segue out of here. So me and TJ are going to get out of here for the night.
Segue. Like Warwick Davis on that little wheel thing. I wish there was video of that. I want to see that.
And be sure to tune in for, I'm going to do a Lazy Seductive Poison, the Resurgent show tomorrow night, where I'm going to be talking about 3 more movies. So you can tune in for that. It's going to be a triple threat review show again. Darren's not going, I don't think Darren's going to be on there with me. That was more fun because having somebody else on here really helps out. And then another wonderful, exciting, interesting, unique midday with Dana and Jay on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. There's no telling what Jay will do.
No.
Jay's on a roll now.
I hope he keeps getting stuff to unbox.
You like that?
Yeah, I just hope he gets something else than underwear.
New underwear or new boxer briefs or tanks or silicone bakeware, all that stuff he was getting. And also, I will be having a couple of watch-alongs for the weekend. Saturday will be When a Stranger Calls. Sunday will be A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles theme film, which I absolutely love. I think I may have Candace on here with me for that
Cool.
one. If all goes well, their internet stays up and all
Then
that.
Blissful, you'll never be on.
I'll be on TMI3 if TJ's
Sorry,
on,
Blissful. I'm sorry, Blissful will never be on Danish.
because TJ is not coming on a TMI show. I can guarantee that. He's horrified by the ones that he wasn't on. So, yeah, he will never
I'm
come
not
on.
horrified. I'm just they would so much stuff I didn't want to learn.
Well, once you see it and hear it, you can't unsee it and unhear it.
I'm gonna get that monster from Horror Express to wipe my mind so I don't remember it.
Yeah, and also the movie Munchies is going to be one of my own creations. It's going to be Robin's Revenge prom night cake. It's going to be one of these delicious, hopefully, homemade cakes that are like wedding cake, those special white wedding cakes, and
What?
baby shower, yeah, baby shower cakes and all that stuff. You know, the really good ones with
Mm-hmm.
buttercream frosting and sugar glass pieces on it.
Ooh, get all
And
fancy.
yeah, I got a recipe for sugar glass, so this is gonna be my first time making it. So y'all wish me luck with that. Uh, Batman says I'm getting Jay some Jaws boxers and a T-shirt. Well, he will love that,
He
Batman.
will wear them and we will see them.
Yes, we will.
Make sure they're long. They're not too short.
Oh man, but anyway, we're gonna get out of here for the night. But I want to say good night to TJ and
Good night,
good
Dana.
night.
Now I want cake. Goodbye.
Now you want cake? Well, you can salivate on Sunday at around 3 p.m. Eastern time, and so will Jay. Jay will be calling me a tramp again when I'm spreading that buttercream.
Yeah, calm down, Jay, with that.
But so anyway, good night, folks, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.